The bad news is only bad if you haven't anticipated it. So ask your Professional Solutions Insurance Services agent about insurance that protects and service that matters. Professional Solutions Insurance Services. Good news for businesses of all types and sizes.
7:43. Welcome back to the program. It's Monday, the 26th of January, and we focus on business each and every week with help from our friends at Professional Solutions Insurance Services. And this morning, Jason, we're talking to Jason Shepard from Gallon Plumbing.
Yeah, and we've met before. Did a commercial for you guys a while back. Thank you for being on this morning.
No problem.
That is great, and it sounds like you guys have so many things to offer. We're going to get to the nitty-gritty here in just a couple of moments, but one thing you say you're really proud of is working with veterans.
We are a veteran-owned business, and we hire veterans. We participate in a lot of veteran programs. My wife is a recruiter. She volunteers for ESGR to help veterans find jobs.
Oh, that is great. Now, what do people need to do to find out? Maybe there's a veteran watching right now that says, hey, maybe I want to work for these guys.
Get a hold of your ESGR people. They'll point you in the right direction.
Okay, and I know the state has had a big push about getting veterans employed here. The governor kind of wants to make it a place where people actually come, veterans, to find employment. So it's great that you're helping those who serve the country. You, this morning, want to focus on something that maybe a few folks don't know about. Maybe they've seen it back in the corner of the basement, but it's the main water valve.
Yeah, it's hidden usually. People don't know where it's at, or they don't know how to operate it. To avoid disaster in your home, you really need to know where this thing's at. It's generally by your water meter. It's a valve before and or after the water meter to shut the main water off in your house. Okay. If there is a major problem in your house, drainage usually isn't the issue, it's water. So you need to be able to shut that thing off. It's good to check it every 6 months to a year. Just turn it off and make sure it actually works. If it doesn't work, of course, give us a call and we'll be happy to come out and fix it. If you don't know where it's at and you can't find us, give us a call and we'll come out and show you where it's at and how it works, or whether it works or not.
So this is the valve. Obviously the water supply comes in from the street, and the valve is in the basement. Usually it's like almost like a lever, isn't it?
Sometimes it's a lever, sometimes it's a round handle, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Okay, and so you're talking about maybe you're trying to do some amateur plumbing and something horrible happens and there's water going all over the kitchen. That's where you want to go, right?
That happens quite often Saturday at 4 o'clock.
Right when you're ready to either go out for the evening, or
your local hardware store is closed.
Oh, they just closed. Yeah, that'd be good.
After you've made about 6 trips. Not a big deal. Give us a call. But yes, that is the water valve that I'm talking about. It's very, very important. If you can find that thing and make sure it operates, you can shut the water off to the house and avoid any kind of disaster that might happen, you know, in the interim between the phone call and us arriving.
Is there anything, you talked about testing it to make sure it works. Obviously, turn on a sink, go turn off the valve and make sure it works. Is there any harm that can be done by turning it off for a short amount of time?
Occasionally, if the valve is old, you got to take a look at it, you know, use your best judgment. If the thing looks like it's going to break if you touch it, don't touch it. Give us a call and we'll come out and replace the thing. It's that important. It's that important that you look at it, make sure it operates, and again, if it looks old, don't touch it. It could actually start leaking the minute you try to turn it.
Now, how big do all homes have a shut-off valve like this, or are there some homes that maybe they were built in a time or somebody trying to save some money, there's not a main shut-off valve inside the house to shut the water off?
It's pretty rare, but on some homes, what you'll have out in the front yard is called a meter pit. It's extremely rare, but when you do have one, it's a little bit more challenging to get in there and test that valve to make sure it actually works. But you still should. And if you can't, again, give us a call. We'll come out and do it.
Just say there is somebody that I know that happens to have this meter pit situation that you just described. Is there a way to put a valve, a shut-off valve, inside the house to make it a little easier so you don't have to go out and tromp through the snow in case something happens?
You sure can. Just give us a call. One of our technicians will come out.
Is it that big of a deal? Because I know the big pipe comes through the side of the wall, but is it that big of a deal to throw one of those in?
It depends. You know, it depends on the line type, whether it's plastic or metal.
Plastic.
It's plastic.
I heard.
You heard. Somebody said.
Somebody said it was plastic, yeah.
Depending on the line type and what it's going to take to get it installed, obviously we're going to come. We're going to give you a straightforward upfront price of what it's going to take to do what you're asking us to do. That's the price that you'll pay, period. That's labor, material, everything. and then we'll go from there.
A question I've always wondered this, and now that I've got a plumber sitting here, in the winter we're getting into where this weekend it might get a little colder again, highs low 30s. Obviously, in some situations, maybe the furnace dies, maybe the thermostat's set painfully low. People worry about their pipes freezing. At what temperature in the house does that become a problem? The obvious answer is 32, but as far as the thermostat setting or the temperature.
Usually inside the house, the temperature outside can be a little colder than 32 before it freezes inside the house. The biggest thing we worry about is air movement. For example, you remember last year, super cold. I personally went on a call because I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but it was a toilet that was about 3 or 4 feet inside the home where the water line went through the floor. There was a 16-penny nail hole, that's very small, on the outside sill of the house where the wind was blowing in 3 feet inside the home and froze the toilet.
No, it did not.
Yes, it did.
And did it crack the pipes?
No, it didn't crack. Fortunately, I was able to de-thaw it and plug the hole. But the wind blowing does definitely make a difference inside the home of at what point the water lines freeze. Also, you got to remember, moving water doesn't freeze as easy. So folks that turn their temperature down and leave that faucet dripping if they think there's a potential problem, unfortunately, yeah, the water bill's going to go up.
But that does work.
But it does work.
There's some people that said, oh, that's just an old wives' tale.
No, it works. It works. So let it drip.
Good to know.
So in a basement temperature that you said in a basement area that's not being used, is there any particular temperature you would not go below?
32 would be the magic
that
number.
Low, you'd say 40 would be fine for people.
40 would be fine. Yep. You know, there's some folks that we work on their homes and get them ready to go south for the winter.
Yeah.
And they keep them 45, 50 degrees inside the home.
Okay.
Interesting. I've always wanted to know that.
There you go. Now you know. You took the question out of my mouth. Good job, though. Good job.
Real quick on the outside sill valves, those outside water faucets that you have. Another important tip, and it's on our website, is disconnect those garden hoses. You know, it's our #1 call in the wintertime is a frozen outside sill valve because you left your garden hose.
Now, why is that the case? Why would a garden hose cause that to be some problems?
A freezeless faucet, how it works is the actual shutoff is inside the home. The handle that you turn is attached to a rod, and that shutoff is inside the home, and that piece of pipe that sticks out with the little nozzle that you attach your hose to, that actually drains out. If the garden hose is hooked up, it can't.
So when it freezes all the way back into. Now you know.
Freezes, expands, cracks, and
breaks, and then in the spring, unfortunately, you go and you turn that thing on, and you're going to wash the car, and you're washing it for about an hour, and the whole time you're flooding your basement.
Oh, because the water stopped back here, but the pipe is broke on the outside of the house.
In between somewhere, and generally speaking, it's blowing into the basement while you're out washing the car.
Wow. Yeah, in between the walls of your house, more than likely.
Yep.
And what about those covers that you see some people hanging on their faucets on the outside of the house? Are those necessary or not?
If your freezeless faucet is operating and installed correctly, it is not necessary.
Not necessary. No. All right. So if people have any other questions, can they just get a hold of you?
Yeah, give us a call. Our client care reps are always standing by. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 331-0030.
Easy number to remember. 331-0030. Perfect. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it for coming over. It is 7:50. We'll be right back. You're watching.